Welcome everyone tonight at Nordic Whales for this AMS session with our friends from Agent I.N.U. Is that the correct pronunciation or is Agent I.N.U?
Yeah, I do like Agent of I.N.U, so that's good.
I.N.U, yeah, sounds more like an agency, governmental agency or something.
Yeah,
Or in
exactly.
this case, a decentralized agency. So welcome you guys. I was just saying that we started talking about technicalities and I didn't have the chance to thank you and welcome you to the lounge.
No, thanks for having us. We're very excited to to show you guys what we're about.
I am really sure about it. I've been picking my nose around and well, no spoilers. We will get to that, I guess. Uh, you want to introduce yourself, maybe, guys? Talk a little bit about the team and the ads that are working on the project with you.
Yeah, sure. So there's three of us on the team. Myself, I'm Imi. I'm a friend of Abe, who's dev. I'm the marketing guy. I liaise and try to make connections with other projects and so forth. Abe is our dev. He's been a engineer, software engineer for a very long time for some big firms. We have another engineer on board. He's our front end dev. He's more in the background. Um, was that the question?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to tell us about the team for us is golden information.
Do you want to talk a bit more about yourself, Abe?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so we are a docs team. So
Sweet.
if you guys check us out on Twitter, we have docs. Yeah, so as Imi said, I'm very heavily involved in the startup world. I currently involved in another startup as a co-founder. I've been in two or three other startups prior to that as well. So so I'm essentially treating this as a startup. So taking my previous experience to build a product. That's quite different to most other sort of similar product in this space, right? So we've got a lot of experience that we're bringing to the table here to create something that people love and enjoy to use, and constantly working on that. And yeah, we can't wait to sort of give you guys a quick demo and show you guys what we're about.
Yeah, I'm sure about that because yes, as I told you, I already spoiled myself a little bit, of course. But what about the team? So you actually guys you developed as well the contract. Is the contract developed by someone external that you trust, that you know, that is KYC with you? What are the let's say the situation of the contract development in particular, maybe?
Yeah, so my initial plan was to get a third party to develop the contract. I think the prices were a bit too expensive, so I ended up doing it myself. So what I did was find a contract um, from a guy called Trinos, if you guys have heard of him before, and I just sort of used that as a
Mm-hmm.
base contract, and I spent about 1 or 2 weeks writing extensive unit tests and simulations of the contract just to make sure there weren't any hidden surprises and that everything would sort of check out and work as I'd expect it to. So yeah, that took about a week or two. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ended up writing, yeah, so quite a lot of tests. I tested every aspect of the contract.
And the contract has been rated.
It's been audited by it's been
Audited.
audited by White Tower. Is it called White Tower? So
What Watchtower?
Watchtower, sorry, yeah,
Ah,
Watchtower.
yeah, I found it. I found it. Yes, I shared my wrong screen of the browser, so we need to copy paste the URLs. But yeah, correct. Smart contract security audit, Watchtower. That's sweet. Oh, congrats! I mean, well done. You are a developer since many years, you said, right? But in the space of crypto, you have already previous experience
Um,
as
so no. So this is my sort of first project in crypto. So I've been working on it for 6 months now. I think we probably started. Look, probably in July. I'd say I first started dabbling around. And I was initially it was just a tool that I was creating for myself. So Amy convinced me that there's a lot of applicability here. Other people will be interested in such a tool, and that was the point where we decided to branch out, create a token, and launch the product officially.
That's awesome. So you guys wanted to take away to go through your white paper, correct?
Yeah. So I'll share my
Uh,
screen now.
yeah, that's sweet. That would be awesome.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Let me know when you guys can see that.
Yeah, instant.
Okay, great. Okay, so Agents of I.N.U, what we do, who we are. So I mean, a lot of people probably see us as a token tracking website, but look, there's actually a lot of smarts. So I like to think of us as two parts. One is our APIs and analytics. So we have a really extensive sort of cloud infrastructure that's pulling data out of the blockchain and from other sources as well, analyzing that data, storing it in our database, and exposing that via our APIs to our web app, which is ingesting that data to display in a way that's going to be conducive to, I guess, anyone that wants to trade in the crypto DeFi space, right? Make it very easy to find new tokens, find trending tokens, and whatnot. So the reason we've done that approach, and I know a lot of other similar websites, they don't actually analyze their own data; they're pulling it directly from the blockchain. But the limitations there are the blockchain is designed for one purpose, primarily, which is allowing easy updating of the blockchain data, right, in a way that's conducive to fast updates, quick updates. But it's not really a querying tool. So to go back and find historic data on the blockchain is actually very hard. And it's so we decided from the start that we'd analyze that data to make it to give our tools some functionality that most other tools don't have in this space. And I'll get to that in a bit. So here's just some quick memes from some of the meme contests we have. So what do we do? I mean, I thought these are a good way to sort of explain. So we do things like detecting scams, detecting honeypots, allowing users to find new and trending tokens, and also protecting you from obvious honeypots and scams and whatnot. So in a nutshell, yeah, Agents of I.N.U makes it really easy to find tokens that you might want to invest in and avoid the ones that you'd want to sort of avoid because they are safe, they're probably scammy, or they just don't have enough activity to justify. So why did we create the tool in the first place? So we were fed up before the scam. So I guess Imi introduced me to the DeFi space probably in June, May, June, during that that really big pump that we had. And I quickly got fed up with the scams. I was frustrated at the lack of visibility, so it was really hard to find new tokens. You'd sort of, people would share them. Sometimes you'd see them mentioned in Telegram groups, I guess. But in terms of actually having one resource that you could go to and find tokens and do your own research, it was actually quite difficult. Like finding tokens was like finding a needle in a haystack in a lot of regards, whether they be new tokens or trending tokens, right? And there were a few tools starting to pop up at that point, but they were often really slow and really fragmented. So you'd go from one tool that had new listings to another tool that showed you information about the contract, if it was safe or not. Later on, there'd be other tools that would show you details about honeypot status and maybe social media accounts, but they were all really fragmented and quite frustrating to find and use. So why us as a team? So look, we've got over 20 years of combined experience in programming and startups, so we do know how to build products. We understand that side of things quite well. We have been trading for now, for almost probably 6 months. I think Imi probably a bit longer than 6 months too. And we've actually gotten quite deep into how the space operates, what we look out for in the smart contracts and whatnot. So we do have quite a deep understanding of the space. Look, we're passionate about making a difference and helping people avoid scams, and we're also users, right? So we're building a tool for the public, but also for us. So which is always a really good thing when the people building the tools are also users of the tools.
Yeah, that's really a good point indeed.
Yeah.
When you find it useful for yourself, it means that you got the experience right.
Exactly. And look, in some ways,
a lot of UX experience could say differently and the opposite of everything, but I feel that way too.
Yeah. Look, it can maybe be a bad thing at times, just because, it's that balance about building it for, I guess, a general audience and building it for. So I could probably consider myself more of a power user, and that's been that's been really interesting is trying to balance between new users who aren't quite familiar with, I guess, the space, and also probably don't have as much of an in-depth knowledge of the space, and making it really accessible to them, while at the same time giving power to people who do really want to go, a bit deeper and use the tool to its full potential. So that's an interesting trade-off that we've been sort of discussing.
I think it comes now that you mentioned that. I think that people will realize while watching your demo that it comes in the design, embedded in the design, this concept that you're mentioning. And well, it's a good thing that it translates already in the product, because a lot of product similar or like existing are putting a lot of things, too many things, losing the synthesis.
Yeah,
While I think that you guys will notice that the app of the Agents of I.N.U is really synthetic. Sorry, just wanted to share this.
no, thank
Stuff.
you. No, I appreciate that. So from marketing, Imi, did you want to touch on this slide quickly?
Oh,
Yeah, sure. So we've already passed the whole when CMC, when CG stage. So we're at a point where it's all about organic growth and getting the word out there. And I think the best way is people talking about the app and say, hey, I found this token and it showed up as a honeypot. And we found it as one of the most effective way to spread the word around, essentially. Other marketing strategies we have in place is PooCoin, which has great reach. I'm pretty sure PooCoin is about 80 million visitors on their website every month. So we've been running a few ads here and there. Facebook ads another one that's quite us by surprise. It has a great return on investment. So we are doing specific targeted ads on Facebook towards towards males aged between 18 to 45 from the top 10
it's you guys,
countries.
because I started receiving like notifications in my Instagram feed about tokens that are doing like launches or whatever. So the industry is taking over.
It is like they know what you're talking about and they feed you that information.
Well,
So it's a great tool.
mm,
Other ways of marketing is AMAs like we're doing today. I find that really effective for especially our project, right? Because it's something that we need to show the people the tool, how to use it. And we personally like it, so we've done a fair few AMAs. Reddit posts, yeah, it's something that some people say they find effective, so we do it time to time. And our community love good promotions and contests. So we're running a little contest right now, the best Schiller. We have a fair few participants. We had a really huge competition just before this. It was a meme contest. Got some great memes out of it.
you also have
Going
one
forward,
competition. Sorry, you also have one competition on Twitter running currently, right?
yeah, that's the shilling contest, the best Schiller.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
so
we took a different approach.
I already put the link in the chat before. So it's got
Okay, nice. Thank you for that. Yeah, so we took a bit of a different approach with the shilling. Normally, it's just people sharing the project around hard shilling, copy and paste here and there. But we told our participants to do a bit more of a soft shilling approach. So kind of blend your way into a conversation. Say, hey, you were talking about this token, so did you use this app to find it? And I find when you do that approach, people kind of are genuinely more interested because you're not trying to sell them something off the bat. So that's what we're trying to achieve. Slow and organic growth. I think, especially with an app like ours, it's that's the best way to grow it.
Yeah. So
In terms of marketing strategy, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it really is about the network effect. So the more people that use the app, find the app useful, and talk to their friends about it, the faster we're going to grow. And it's how you've seen most other similar tools in this space grow. It's not so much through hard marketing per se. It's more just build a user base, get that user base to evangelize your product, get new users on board and grow that way. And that's really, we need to get to that point to really, I think, get to the next level.
Indeed, it's the first bullet point you put here, and I think it will be really a factor for you guys, given the unremarkable utility that I've seen at first sight. So again, I find your work in line with your project. end of the marketing presentation.
Thank you. Imi, did you have anything
Thank
else you
you.
wanted to add there, or?
I think we can talk about the upcoming marketing strategies towards the end,
Yep.
perhaps.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And just some more information about the token itself. So we did launch on the 2nd of December officially. So it's been, I think, 2 months today, which is cool. So we are on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and Nomics as well. We've got over 2,900 token holders, about 1,000 Twitter followers, I think, 2,500 Telegram followers across our channels. So we do have a few sort of region specific channels, in particular our Indonesian channel is quite active. And so in terms of recent progress, and I'll just quickly run through this before we get into the demo itself. So we've been making huge improvements on the backends and the foundations of the app. So yeah, I mean that hasn't really sort of translated to the website per se, but we have been working on our APIs, our analytics, and that's going to enable. It is enabling us to already capture more data. It's also going to enable us to launch onto other chains as well. So start supporting networks like Ethereum, Phantom, and some of these other sort of big networks in probably the near future. I don't want to put a date on that, but that's definitely something that we're sort of working on in the background. We have released our token page, and I did release a few updates yesterday. So we added global search plus a few other sort of qualitative live improvements. And sort of coming up next, we'll be working on our charts on the token page to make those a bit more robust and allow you to look at longer time frames. We'll be linking to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and other verified socials. So currently we do auto detect socials like Telegram and Twitter, but we do want to add verified socials as well. So that's something that we'll start looking into probably in the next week or two. And then beyond that, sort of more detailed holder analytics and analysis about the tokens themselves. So those are coming up sort of in the near future. And right now, Pufferfish, are we good to move into the demo?
Yeah, one quick question. Like I've heard you mention already twice in a day in your Telegram and here that you went through the CMC CG phase. Was it stressful?
It's actually quite well. It was very stressful when you're getting the when CMC, when CG every day, and we actually we thought we weren't ready for CoinMarketCap, but to appease the community, I went in there and because I had applied for CG and I didn't get any response for about 2 weeks. To appease the community, I put in an application to CoinMarketCap, and we actually got approved within 3 hours. So I just sort of did it, just to sort of keep the community happy. But I was a bit shocked that we got approved so quickly. As soon as that happened,
nice.
Yeah, CG, we were approved for CG straight away, which I think tends to happen, right? As soon as you're on CoinMarketCap, you tend to get added to CG, even if they can drag the feed a bit. And which was really good. We got a massive pump out of it. I think it was our highest volume day, a couple of days on the back of that, which was really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like different phenomena around listing on CMC and CG. A lot of token reacting in different ways, so I know that may be stressful as well. I think people in the chat asking the same question every day.
Yeah. No, it was a bit surreal. It was a bit surreal that sort of 24 hours after listing, but
yeah, well, it's done, people. It's done. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's go. If you want, okay, the demo, perfect. That's the main dish.
Yeah, cool. So here's the app. So Agent of I.N.U. So what you get presented first is a table, and that table shows you all the tokens that match your particular criteria, right? And what sort of differentiates us is one, the information that we present, and two, the ability to filter, to sort by whatever you're interested in, right? And really hone in on tokens that you care about. So right now we're showing tokens that are the biggest gainers in the last 24 hours, but you can just as easily look for tokens with the most liquidity. So you obviously see things like, BUSD, PancakeSwap. You can look at volume, which will sort of probably serve as similar tokens, but here you're seeing other sort of meme tokens that are quite popular right now. So Doge King, Doge Queen, and some of these other ones that are really popular. We do show you the honeypot status of each token in line, so you don't have to go to another tool. We've got it all here, so you can sort of see. Obviously, BUSD is a safe token with no tax fees and no honey functionality. If you look at some of the newer ones, you'll see a lot more tokens that can't be traded, right? I mean, obviously, we know there's a huge amount of scams being released, so yeah, you can quickly rule out tokens that are likely scams. Like these newer ones here. So yellow ones also tell you tokens that have really high tax fees. So this one has 100% sale tax, so obviously that's a scam. Even though you can successfully buy and sell, obviously you don't want 100% tax. We also show you a quick graph of each token. Obviously percentage change.
Sorry, well, just one quick question. Do you have like a filter to hide all the tokens that have not passed the honeypot check?
Look, we do have filters. We don't have that particular filter. So
Okay.
yeah, and it's I guess probably one of the reasons that we don't have that is that I think it's interesting to, or at least from an
Sure.
education point of view, show users that we are detecting those. But yeah, but
I see your point.
yeah, but it's definitely something that we can probably introduce once people sort of get the tool to avoid those. So
Yeah, sure.
and quickly we also show events like liquidity lock, so you can see tokens which have liquidity lock, like this one has 100% lock with pink sales. Also ownership transfers. I know some people prefer tokens to be renounced, even though it's not always a good thing if you're a utility token. But if that is something you care about, we do service that information there. And we'll also show you some information about the contract. So just a heads up that our contract checker will be a point of focus. So right now it works okay, but there's quite a lot we want to get to there. And that'll be a point of focus probably in February into March. We'll be revamping how that works. But right now we'll show you unverified tokens. We'll show you tokens where the creators have previously created as well. So in this particular case, the creators created 2 tokens previously that only survived about 3 hours. So that's really good to quickly rule out potential scams.
Wow, I did not notice this one.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
Yeah, so this one the creators create another token that lived for 6 hours. So it's sort of like if you do want a quick trade, sometimes it can be useful if a creator's creating a lot of tokens that live for a day or two. That gives you a good sense of how long you have to get in and out if that's what you're after. That sort of pure
Wow,
degen play.
yeah. You read my mind.
Yeah. So from a filtering point of view, I mean, you can also filter by name. I know a lot of people like to follow the latest Elon Musk tweet. So if Elon Musk decides to tweet about, I think there was one of the
Mark. We have a guy in our community, one of the team that's really into Elon related tokens.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like for example, if you want to look at all the baby tokens, type in baby, and we'll filter it down to only show those tokens. You can also filter by number of trades. So if you want a token with a large amount of trades, you could do that. Rule out any ones that aren't very active. Likewise, if you want a liquidity min or max, you can do that as well. Hide any tokens with, let's say, less than 50 liquidity. You can do the same with volume. And let's say you only want tokens of a certain age. You can even go back in time and say, hey, don't show me any tokens from 2022. Just show me, I don't want to see 2021 tokens. You'll see that as well. Although I'm not sure why that one's showing up. So that might be a mistake there. But you can also select a range here and say, let's say tokens created in November, and I think that might actually be broken. So I have to look into that one and see what's going on there. But yeah, so ideally you should be able to filter it down to a particular range.
I've noticed looking at the UI before that you drill down to 5 minutes range. Well, it's something that a lot of other different sites do 1 hour or 1 day. Is it something that you guys foresee to go even deeper, like, I don't know, with 1 minute data?
So the time data is, yeah, so the time data is actually 1 minute. So what?
Okay.
So are you talking about this here? Is that what you're referring?
Filter period.
Or were
No,
you
I was
talking about?
referring to you see the percentage
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
tokens
yeah.
that
Um,
computed up to 5 minutes, right? That's the granularity.
yeah, exactly. So we do
Yeah.
support up to 5 minutes. Look, I mean, I guess there is an argument to be made about 1 minute. Personally, I feel like it's
Yeah,
probably too
yeah, I
noisy.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
understand what you mean.
yeah, I
But
mean,
a lot of sites don't even maybe present the 5 minutes one. If, now maybe I may be wrong, but uh,
yeah,
I
I
found it
think
cool in any case.
yeah. No,
It's a
that's
good. I found it. I thought that it was a good interval of time in which there's relevant stuff happening, but it may happen quicker as well. Now
yeah,
that I
no, for
think
sure, for
about it.
sure. Yeah, you're
So,
right. So
you never want to happen it to for it to happen so quick because normally it's not good.
yeah,
Well, if it goes up well, indeed you
yeah,
wish for, but
it might be a
50-50.
bit too late. But you
And also
usually,
like there's
um,
please sorry.
so I will just say, like, usually I find that there's actually not that many tokens that are pumping in any 5 minutes. So I mean, effectively, a 5 minutes
Mm,
will surface all the
yeah.
tokens that have sort of changed significantly within the first 5 or 10. You don't tend to
This is
see a huge amount.
a page that I did not see. It's like the profile page of the token itself. Huh?
Yeah, so if you click on a token, you'll get here, and I think, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people aren't finding this page just yet, so maybe we have to factor that into the UX. How do we let people know that you can actually come
Ah,
here?
there are taxes as well. Nice,
Yeah.
lovely.
So we'll show you the amount of holders, which we update periodically on our backend. We'll show you. I mean, right now this page is we are adding a few more functionality here, so stay tuned. And every time you look at it, you'll hopefully see a few things that are a bit different. So there are links to Twitter and Telegram. If we detect those, you can open the chart on PooCoin to get a sort of full charting experience. Our chart will be evolving very quickly. So right now this token's been pretty inactive, but we do show a 1 hour chart, liquidity lock, contract issues, and obviously just a price action summary. Showing you changes over the last week, last day, 1 hour, 5 minutes, and also volume activity and highs and lows, right? You can see the all-time high, all-time low, um,
Nice.
and weekly
And
highs,
like
weekly
here
lows.
is where the automatic contract analysis is plugged or is already computed and considered while displaying the first table.
Yeah, so
Or I need to
we
get to this
automatically run
page
that.
to
Yeah,
see the information.
yeah. So this is the same information that's presented here. We just have a bit more room to display that a
Okay,
bit
okay, okay,
differently.
okay, okay.
So our
Okay.
backend's constantly analyzing every contract as it's created. And we're also constantly updating the honeypot status of every contract. So depending on how old that contract is, if it's an old contract, we don't do it as often because generally, if it's been safe for 6 months, it's not gonna suddenly become a honeypot. But for new tokens, we try and update every 5 minutes. Um, so you can very quickly sort of tell this token's no longer safe. Let's avoid it now. Because
I've
often,
also read that you guys are. Sorry, please. I didn't want to cut you.
no, that's fine. So oftentimes, people will do a honeypot check. It'll come back clean, and they'll think it's safe to invest. But then, say 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, the
Okay.
developer triggers a
Yeah.
function that turns into a honeypot. So we do think it's important to constantly update that information to show users, hey, you know,
Yeah, and also track history is huge. Track history is huge. Well, I had one particular question which I forgot at the moment. So
sorry, apologies.
no problem. So the red token means that there are issues with the contract. Sorry, the issues column red means that there are issues with the contract.
Yeah. So like I said,
Like
look,
that one.
yeah. So this one we've detected a
Hard-coded
hard coded
address with
address.
the list. Wow, nice.
Yeah. Look, like I said, I do want
Super
to.
slick.
Yeah, I do want to really update this. So I have actually been in my spare time playing around with a very different approach because I'm like most issue trackers that I've seen, and I want to say all, but also don't want to say all because there might be some that are better than others. They're really rudimentary in the way they work, to the point where it's really easy for I guess for developers and scammers to work around those issue checkers, right? So I mean, rug checkers are a good sort of first check, but they're really limited in what they can find. And any sort of experienced scammer will be able to work around most struct checkers quite easily. So there is a different approach that we want to take to analyzing contracts, which is a bit more formal, a bit more robust, and probably it sort of learns from my professional experience, I guess. It is a lot more involved, but that's something that we definitely want to get to. And I mean, our aim is to have the best sort of token contract analyzer in the industry. That is probably a month or two away, but it's definitely like a big focus area for us. So right now, similar to most other ones, our checks are fairly rudimentary, but they do help you rule out sort of the obvious scams. And when you couple that with the with the honeypot checker, you find you avoid quite a lot of scams. But as always do your own research. We do have some YouTube videos where we go through how to actually try and analyze tokens in a bit deeper. So looking at their trading activity on PooCoin to see who's buying and selling. Oftentimes, the developer that's doing most of the buying and selling to try and trick you into pretending that there's activity.
Yeah.
Then once people buy in,
sometimes I've seen some that are still fooling people by constantly selling from the one and only address.
Yeah,
There are still a lot of tricksters and people being tricked, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where the honeypot checker works really well. Even if there are sales, if it's showing up as red, you'll know that it's that one address that's doing all the selling. But the other one is even like do your own research, find out who's selling, because oftentimes it will be fake volume, and once enough people buy in, that's when they actually do the delayed honeypot. So they'll trap you at that point, and run away with usually $100 or $200. But yeah, it's not a good feeling when you're the first. It's happened to me before where I've bought in and then 5 minutes later they've turned it into a honeypot, and I think I was the only person that actually bought. So that's probably not a good feeling when you're that person, right? But yeah.
I feel you, brother.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much it for the product today. Like I said, we're constantly improving it. There will be hopefully another update in the next week.
Actually, if I can ask 2 questions, it's not it, because there is also a link section on the right, which we have the Vsc Scanner.
Yeah. So
link to PooCoin, correct? And the third one, what's the third
So sorry, I actually didn't mention this. So this is a similar view to what we had previously. So this is where we look at different events that happened for tokens. Look, I personally don't sort of love this view, but it's if you're the type of person that wants to trade based on liquidity lock, for example, you can come here, filter down to just look at, let's say, liquidity locks, and anytime it's a new liquidity lock that we detect, we'll display it in the list here, and we'll surface that to the top, and you'll be able to do that. So I know a lot of people do like to wait for, let's say, a pink sales lock or I'm not seeing any here, but like a Unicrypt lock, and on the back of those.
Well, I think it's a signal that a lot of bots take as well. So I guess there's for sure utility in terms of strategy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I personally, maybe like you were mentioning before, I personally never, and this is like a confession, but I almost never bother maybe to check these things before I ate, because when I ate, I just like do that sometimes. But maybe yes, this is a more say in-depth information is better, right?
Yeah, and it's true. Like even when I used to ape in the past, I was the same, and it's mainly because it's just hard to find that information. But having it in the one tool like we've got here, I think does make it a lot easier, because I mean, you just glance across, and within 5 seconds you'll know if there's a liquidity lock or not. And it's about creating that workflow that where it's really easy to do as much as possible, rather than having to go to 5 different tools and determine, is it locked, is it safe, is there a telegram.
Yeah, sure. So maybe now that we saw and we understood your product, which I think it's really direct and straightforward, which is always a good thing in terms of let's say complex UIs. Maybe we can take this segue and talk a little bit about the future evolutions, because I've seen that the actual roadmap on your site is already towards the the end, right? And specifically, I was interested in understanding more details about the coming premium features. If let's say these are gonna be the base features, or you're gonna, let's say, ask for a trade for some of these feature. And I've also read that you guys are planning, of course, to expand your product by integrating it with different blockchains. It's really cool on your side because you have, like, let's say, a character design for BSC for the time being, while you're teasing the release of other themed character, I guess, to associate to other chains. And yeah, so if you can tell us more as well on this future evolution.
Yeah, I can. So in terms of our roadmap, so there's actually like I guess it's no secret, our aim is to be the best sort of research token tracking tool in the industry. So we're continuing to work on that. So things that I mentioned, like much more advanced token contract analysis, we'll be building in probably a lot more functionality even into the table itself. We can't fit any more columns in, so at some point we'll probably add column select and allow to search by different criteria. Look, I know there's a lot of people that are more interested in, say, volume than they are in sort of weekly change, so they're looking for volume change as opposed to price change, which is a really good indicator of interest in projects. So those are things that we're thinking about in the background. Our token page will be showing a lot more information, and that'll be coming. So we'll be adding information about wash trading, which is what I discussed previously, where there's fake sort of volume. We'll be adding information about creators, which contracts they've created previously, so you can do that level of research. Quite a lot of other things that I probably won't discuss now, but our aim is to make that page extremely useful from an analysis point of view. So also you mentioned launching another chain. So right now, I guess we're debating the best approach, and we'll be guided by the market in a lot of respects. So we're definitely aiming to support other chains. So right now, if you click on Binance Smart Chain, you'll see that we've got Ethereum coming soon.
There's
So
Ethereum. Yeah.
so you'll be able to click on that, and instead of seeing BSC tokens, you'll see Ethereum tokens. Likewise, other chains. So login is something that we've been meaning to get to. We just sort of deprioritize that because our focus right now is growing our user base. So we want to get as many users as possible before we focus on some of the other features. But eventually, you'll be able to log in.
A little bit. Sorry, the market. How is it going on other chains emerging? And it's starting to form up. So I guess there's still, I would say, there's no real contender in terms of microcaps to Binance Smart Chain, but they're starting to build up. And also another feature that I find interesting that a friend of mine showed me not so long ago, and I'm a bit ashamed about that, but is on certain sites, for example, you can check how many people visited that particular chart in the last day or something. So my question was, have you ever considered to get data from other sources that are already processing their own data from the blockchain, like kind of a layer 2, if you want, data analysis?
Look, we are integrating from some other sites as well, not sites, but we are using some other APIs for some of the data that we're doing. Honestly, there's not a huge amount that's super useful for what we need, and that's mainly because, look, I think when a lot of people think about the blockchain and BSC, they think about tokens and NFTs, but really, the blockchain doesn't know what a token is. It doesn't know what an NFT is, right? There's sort of smart contracts that have those functionality inbuilt. So most of these sort of blockchain aggregators and blockchain sites, they don't really go to the level of, can you see information about tokens per se? You can just sort of see information about transactions, and you then have to sort of infer, well, what does that actually mean?
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so there are a couple that do that, but look, there's just one of the main reasons why we've been doing it ourselves is that they usually only support one or two chains, so mostly BSC. Sometimes you'll get another chain like maybe AVAX or Polygon or whatever. But I mean, our aim is to support every chain or any chain that's relevant, right? So by tying into some of
Yeah,
these APIs, you're limited in terms of evolution. So what we don't want is a case where Vsc has all this functionality, but you go to AVAX and there's only you only show half that information. Our aim is to have
yeah, true. I think, as you said, there's still some level of immaturity in other
yeah.
chains, not really technological, but just in terms of user base.
Mm,
And people are also trying to migrate because maybe a little bit, say, as you said, in DSC, so many people with not so pleasant experience. They try other solutions. And I think that you guys maybe will fit into this scenario perfectly. But now that you mention it on the links, I noticed that some of the tokens have also, was that a Telegram icon?
yeah. So right now, look, a lot of tokens actually put Telegram and Twitter icons in the smart contract code itself. So we do look for those, and if we find that
Okay,
the link will
they're
expose that.
taken directly from the contract.
Yeah. So in future we
That's
will.
actually super cool. That's actually super cool. It should be like an obligation or something.
Yeah, it would be
Put
nice.
a URL reference.
Look, a lot of the times they'll actually put a URL to a different group. So when they'll create a fake contract and they'll have a URL to the wrong Telegram group. So it always pays to double check that it is actually the right contract when you get to the group. But
Okay,
yeah,
True.
but no, it's a really easy feature to do that initial research quite simply. So rather than looking for a group, just click the group and you get right there. And there are some with Twitter as well. So
Hey, did you mention the search bar?
yeah, so you can also search too. So this is a new feature that we've just added in. Let me spell correctly. It does. I don't know why. It takes a couple seconds the first time because I think it's just warming up on the back end. But once it's going, it gets pretty quick. So you can sort of search our token and whatever other token
Nice.
you're interested in. You can sort of look for. Godzilla.
Sweet. I think that the design of the app is really sleek. I like it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Well organized and clear. So that's really good. So one thing that I wanted to ask you guys again about a little bit the evolution of the product. I've read that you guys have a Chinese version of the app, and are you planning to push internationalization? Sorry, I cannot spell the word. Internationalization.
Yeah, so
Even further. There you go. So you have already 5 languages.
yeah, exactly. Look, a lot of our user base is from Indonesia, so that was an important one for us to support. But yeah, we've been adding those periodically. Yeah, so as we sort of get requests or interest, we'll try it in a language.
And you have also Chinese already.
I'm from Indonesia too.
Yeah.
So we have a listener.
So we've got French,
So
Turkish.
yes, a lot of people in our group as well are from Indonesia. Indonesia representing.
Beautiful.
And Chinese. There you go.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
So just to say, you said that everything was already been said about the product 25 minutes ago or 20 minutes or so, but actually there was much more about it. So a lot of things packed and a lot of things already. And I don't know, guys, if I've seen that in your Medium article, I think, or in the roadmap. You're talking about the pricing of the tiers. That means that you will soon decide how many tokens are needed to access certain functionalities.
Yeah, so that's something that we're still discussing, right? If we do go down that tier approach, so look, it does make sense in some respects to go down that approach, but on the other hand, we also understand that this is disparity in income across the world, right? And what some people in some parts of the world can afford isn't necessarily true in other parts of the world. So one thing that we don't want to do is exclude a lot, because in some parts of the world, 100 USD might be fairly insignificant.
Yeah.
In other parts, it's quite a lot of money, right? So one thing that I'm really conscious of is making it a tool that's accessible to everybody, and not having that sort of class divide. If you're living in sort of certain parts of the world, you can afford it a bit more easily, whereas it's just unaffordable for everyone else. So look, we're thinking of other ways to monetize and other ways to sort of make the token important without necessarily locking people out. But that's a sort of an active area because we know other tools have gone down the path of premium tiers, and then eventually they decide it's not a good approach, so they've sort of deviated away from that too. And we have been discussing with other tools that have sort of tried that and decided now we need another way because you're just limiting your user base at some level.
True that. It's a practice of patience as well, accepting a little bit of trials and error and adaptations along the way. But especially like how to say statistics and let's say layer two services are always difficult or require a straight intelligent plan to monetize correctly. In my past experience on different domains outside of crypto, let's say, but that's super looking sweet. And
so can I just touch on one more point? So another thing that we're starting to think about monetizing is the data itself, right? So instead of charging, let's say, like instead of monetizing our end users, which look, I'm not going to say we will or won't, but we could also sell our data to other sort of providers of similar services, right? Expose our APIs, and that's another way that we can think about monetization. Given that we are capturing all this data in a way that most other tools aren't, like it does give us that avenue to start exploring. And we have had that discussion about partnering with different tools and different projects that might want a level of analysis on their websites. That might be a path to monetizing as well.
Yeah, sweet from your part. Just to think about how to keep the service accessible. That's it's really commendable, and it shows that you actually are fully confident about the utility and the value of it. Props to you for that. But now, on a, let's say, less serious, air quoting note, I was showing on the screen your page with your mascot, which Agent Shiba, and the other silhouettes of the agents that are soon to come. I guess when you guys will eventually branch out on other chains. There's one with the sword, one with like Batman. Can we already guess which chain is what characters, or is, let's say, an indication?
Yeah. Well, you tell me which one you think is which character. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phantom. This is Phantom.
Yes, that's right. I think that's the obvious one. Yeah. The other ones I'm not entirely sure about, but yeah, that's definitely Phantom.
The other ones are more difficult though.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to work out. Phantom's got that really. We might have a chef. We should have had a chef for the pancake swap, but we went for Detective Shiva for some.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
This resonates as well with a little bit the concept of the app itself. And today I was like thinking by myself about how it's really nice to see that the meme culture is kind of evolving in products that are useful for itself, if you wish. I don't know if I explain my reasoning behind my idea.
No, I understand you perfectly.
It's solidifying in a sense in proper products that are actually cutting edge. You see.
Yeah, and maybe Imi can talk to that one a bit, but we have had a bit of it has been a bit of a struggle to get people to realize, hey, we are a real product, we're not just a meme token. So that's probably been a bit of a challenge for us that we probably didn't anticipate at the start.
Okay, that's interesting to hear the experience indeed.
Yeah,
because it's also from a marketing perspective, from a bystander point of view, something that it's culturally interesting. But then having the counter voice from someone who actually experiencing it is always fun for me. And one of the things that I like the most in these sessions is to understand correctly what happens in your shoes.
Yeah. No, it's been interesting. We've had a lot of people that yeah, it's probably our most common AMA question is why Agents of I.N.U and why not a sort of more professional name. So I'm sure that'll come up later on anyway.
I guess so. I guess so. But I see that you guys are also tracking bigger tokens, right? As you mentioned on your on your site, or is something that you're gonna add the data further on?
So we are tracking like so a lot of people sort of use these tools to find new tokens. I personally prefer looking for older tokens that are pumping, right? And I've sort of been fortunate. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like French Connection Finance, for example, which is quite a big token. Where I got onto that just before I think it hit CMC, and I found that on the tool, and I managed to do I think a 20x on that one. And there's been a few other examples where there are older tokens that are pumping for whatever reason. So rather than having to scour Telegram groups,
Casually, yes.
yeah,
Sometimes casually.
yeah. So I'm looking. Look, it's worth it's a valid strategy looking for older tokens because there's a lot of reasons why the charts might pump, and having that one place where you can quickly scan and see which tokens have gone up by 20, 30, 40% in the last 24 hours could get you in at the start of a huge pump where they could end up going 10, 20x. So that's definitely a technique that I've used successfully in the past.
Okay. Well, that was so much insight as well in a short, let's say, and really synthetic design. I really appreciate that because was really interesting to go through it. But now I propose to you guys to maybe really do a breeze over more bureaucratic information like the tokenomics and maybe the token supply pie chart that I've seen somewhere. And then I will start accepting maybe some questions from our audience because I did not realize, but I had so many questions myself, I cannibalized the attention. So yes, guys, if you want to maybe start typing questions in the chat, now we'll go through them and I'll propose some to our guests. Or if you feel confident you want to ask your question yourself, feel free to unmute you one at a time, please. Eventually, and yeah. So, guys, what about the tokenomics?
Yeah, so it's them. We do have a really detailed Medium post where we go through that, but essentially
Okay.
so we have so 1% rewards to holders. So in the form of reflections, we do add 2% to auto liquidity, just to protect the price of the token.
In native token, right?
Yeah,
Native.
yeah.
Okay.
So there is a 2% max wallet just to protect, I guess, holders from whales, and we do have an 8% an 8% tax that is at the moment mostly going to marketing, to be honest. So we have 4% there to dev and 4% to marketing, but right now it's essentially been all to marketing until we get to a point where we're happy with the volume, and then I guess we can look at that distribution again. But right now our focus is on growing the token, paying our server cost, and paying our development fees is really what we're trying to achieve here. Yeah, that's it. So definitely check out our Medium if you want a more in-depth sort of discussion as to why we did why we made the decisions that we did. But essentially, that's our tokenomics at a high level.
Yeah, actually, I started reading through your Medium today, and I really appreciated it because there's a lot of content, also maybe more sideways storylines, which I found quite interesting. There are a ton of questions in the chat, so I'm taking some if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Or we can discuss whatever you prefer.
Yeah, let's get into the Q&A.
Yeah. So one of our user King is asking, while designing your application and perfecting your application, did you consider community feedback and requests? And he says that is important because a lot of projects fail to do this, and voila, that's his question.
No, definitely. Look,
I'm also sorry. The ideal profile of the consumer of your product.
Cool. So I'll answer those consecutively. So starting off with that first question, we definitely consider user feedback. And look, we come from that world anyway, where we understand sort of product design and sort of the cutting edge product design and how do you take user feedback on board. So that's something that we've definitely been doing. So we have quite a vocal community, and we have received quite a few sort of quite a lot of feedback over the journey that we've tried to factor into the design. Look, some of it we haven't had a chance to get around to. Some of it we've had to take that feedback and sort of refine in a way that's going to be more generalizable to our entire user base. But look, if anyone's listening to this today and has any thoughts, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you dislike, and any other sort of improvements that you think would help you. So that's a really important part of what we do, is trying to distill that information and use it to improve the product. So in terms of our ideal user, that's a really interesting question. Look, we're trying to design it in a way where
Please remember the questions, because you said, guys, you wanted to do the giveaway for best questions. So one thing that I always find difficult to do is to remember which question was associated to. So now I'm trying to take some notes.
Okay, appreciate that, because I won't be able to.
No problem.
So in terms of users, so look, I guess our main aim and challenge, and it's really hard to achieve in practice, is to create a tool that spans a wide user base. So we do want it to be accessible enough to new users who might sort of land here and start using the tool, who might not understand what a honeypot is, what minting tokens is, and what some of the other stuff that we're discussing is, right. But at the end of the day, if they can sort of see green charts, sort of green status icons, that might be enough to introduce them. So part of our plan is to add a lot more documentation as to what everything means. We do have an onboarding flow already. We might look at expanding that with videos and how-to videos, just to ease that transition in. But look, another big audience that we're targeting is that power user who's going to really drill down into the filters. And we are noticing over time that a lot of our users initially don't look at filtering, but over time that becomes the go-to for some of our more experienced users who start really drilling down into this to really get that next level of detail. So we are trying to span a wide range of users. Look, in future, it might actually be a case where we strip some of the columns out by default, just to make it a bit less intimidating, I guess, for people coming in, and allow you to sort of select what you want to see and what you don't want to see as a sort of power user functionality. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to, anyone that's really trading on Vsc or in any of these DeFi networks is a potential user for us, and we just need to work out how we capture those and how we keep them all engaged and interested.
So thanks a lot. That was a super comprehensive explanation. And there's another interesting question from Air. I hope I pronounced it correctly. It says, I saw that you guys are going to release NFTs on your roadmap. Will this be a function of I.N.U NFTs, or is it just for collectibles? Is it wondering if the NFT, possessing the NFT, guarantees any perk? Or something, or you have ever thought about it?
Yeah, we have. Look, for me, I don't want to do anything that's not going to be contributing to the utility in some way. So, even with NFTs, it's not something that will probably happen in the near term if we do that, but it will definitely be determined by how do we make it interesting? How do we build it into the utility? And if we don't find a real use for it, we might decide, look, maybe we won't do NFTs. So that's really one where we're just keeping our ear to the ground, trying to see where the NFT market's going, and then we'll decide on the back of that what approach we might take.
And also because there could be also a niche to build up statistics for NFT tradings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Different approach. There's another really simple and clean question from Temania Nopal, and the brother is asking, why do you use the name Agent of I.N.U? It's quite interesting, actually.
I'll let Imi answer this one because he has been a bit quiet. I've sort of taken over.
Our actual original name was Trend DeFi, so like trending DeFi, and I guess we were advised by some people at the time that this space does not, it's not receptive to utility tools. So the only way to flourish is going by a meme name or meme coin. So we made the decision to rebrand as a meme coin and change over from Trend DeFi. And yeah, we've had quite the mixed review. A lot of people kind of judging us before they even check us out, and like just another Shiba Inu. But yeah, we're trying to be a lot more than that. But yeah, that's what we're stuck with right now. We have a bit of a mixed reception to it. But we're trying to make it work with the characters and the different chains.
Yeah, I found that idea super neat, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think essentially right now, what the aim would be is that to get recognized enough that if you hear us a few more times, you'd be like, hey, they're not a meme coin because I've heard that name a few more times. Let me check them out. And then, the name kind of goes in the background and people recognize us for utility and not the name.
Exactly, yeah.
I have more of a technical question. Does your sorry.
Go live.
So are you actually able to detect honeypots with a proxy contract as well?
So the way we detect honeypots is by actually simulating the buy and sell. So we've got a contract that we've written somewhere hidden on the blockchain that we haven't sort of exposed, so no one knows where it is or what it does. It actually tries to do a real buy and sell. So it should detect any honeypot except the only case we've seen it fail, and it's quite rare. There are some tokens with anti-bot mechanisms, which won't allow any transaction within the same block. A buy and sell within the same block. So those ones will accidentally flag as not accident, but will mistakenly flag as a honeypot. But in practice, we find that's a very tiny majority of tokens have that limitation in there, and that's usually why I'd sort of suggest if you do see a honeypot and it's a token that has a huge amount of volume and has been trading for a long time, then it's probably a false positive. But otherwise, I'm not aware of any time where we've said a token wasn't a honeypot and it actually was a honeypot. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What about mint function? Are you able to detect that also?
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, the creator basically can mint his own token.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can detect some. We're not detecting all, and probably not detecting most. So that will be a focus for us. Probably in the next, we'll probably start working on that. Probably in the next 2 weeks, when we'll start looking at really upgrading how our contract analysis works and trying to detect some of those things. So that'll be a combination of things. So one, better analysis of the contract itself. Two, we might look. I do have an AI background, so I might see if I can sort of lean on that and see if we can automatically detect contracts which might have mint functionality just based on previous scam contracts. We do have a database of hundreds of thousands of contract code that we're storing anyway. So we might be able to lean on that to do a bit more analytics and a bit more smarts around all that.
Okay. Another thing I found interesting that's some tools they have a tax for wallet-to-wallet transactions. I mean, I haven't been able to really find any token analyzer that does show if that. Yeah. So that could be maybe an interesting implementation.
So we do have tax. So is that what you mean? Sorry,
No, if you
transfer wallet from wallet, there are some contracts that can tax you for that.
Yeah. That's actually So our token actually does that too, to be honest. And yeah. So we. So are you saying you want to detect that or?
Yeah. Just it would be nice to know if you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's actually an interesting point. I haven't considered that. Look, I think that's probably something we can actually add in anyway, like just a tax detection. So I might consider that too. Thank you.
So, any other question, live?
No, I think that
there was experience asking for a small intervention. Please, experience. Feel free. if you're still in the chat. Yeah, experience. I saw you. I see you're there. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go on, please.
My question is, do the token holders has the right to participate in the governance? Can user or holder able to propose and vote for platform improvements and suggestion? Thank you.
Look, not. I mean, I guess informally yes, officially no. So look, I'm a big believer that product design by consensus isn't a good approach and not the right approach. It really does come down to a product owner that understands the product direction of the product and taking that feedback from the community and sort of incorporating that in a way that's going to be beneficial to the tool, right? So I mean, I guess from our point of view, look, if the community is in agreement that they want to see a certain feature, that's something that we'll strongly consider and we'll weigh heavily on our sort of feedback in our plans. I'm sorry, there's some background noise from someone in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, so does that answer your question? So we'll definitely consider feedback from the community and take that into our product roadmap, but whether it won't be a case where we'll be beholden to that because it might not make sense for the direction of the product.
There was another interesting question, I believe. Thanks for the question, by the way. From let me grab my notes. Follow up asking. Just give me a quick second because I lost track of the chat.
Hello.
Hi, hello. Yeah, here. Yeah, sorry. Just one last question from the chat, then it's your turn. He says that he saw that part of the tokens are reserved for burning. Have you burned or you're planning to burn tokens? Because I've seen that in the pie chart that actually 49.5% is sent to burn others, but my question is, has it already been sent or completely or not?
Yeah, so we did a burn at launch, at contract creation. The reason we did the burn was to ensure the price of the token would be exactly equal to our pre-sale price. So we had a private pre-sale, and so that burn was determined by how many we had to burn to sort of honor our commitment to our pre-salers that launch price would be equal to what they paid, and that was the reason for the burn. And we do go into that into our in our Medium post again. Well, I know that might not make sense to a lot of users and why you need to burn, but we do go into a bit of detail in the Medium post as to why we did that and sort of what the reasoning was.
Yeah, I guess it's a concept that started to take place since I don't know, maybe 1 year for buyback and more. I mean, DNB itself buybacks and firms, right? So it's just to control, to give up more solidity to the floor of the chart and maybe also try to sustain it. Well, and I guess I don't know, guys, if you have any other questions, we are free to take them. I personally scroll through the chat and screen them a lot, so don't get crazy if I did not select your question. So if not, we can proceed.
I have a question.
Yeah. Please.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is my question. You have a very good project, but I want to know what sets you apart from your competitor. What makes you special compared to its competitor? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. So look, what I mean, I guess one is, look, I think as a team we understand the space quite well, and we do have the experience to really take this product somewhere that, look, we haven't really seen from a lot of the other tools. A lot of the other tools have been quite a bit rudimentary in some respects, and probably lack a bit of polish that we're trying to do. And the other one is, so a lot of other tools aren't collecting the amount of data that we're doing in the same way that we're doing, right? So that gives us the ability to really get deep in terms of the insights that we can present to our users, which we haven't seen, and also that ability to integrate across different data sources and sort of surface different insights in a really easy way, I think is also quite unique. So you probably won't see any other look at, and if you guys know any other tools, feel free to sort of reach out to me. But in terms of the tools that I've seen in this space, so that ability to do what we do in the same way that we do is, I don't think I've sort of come across that, especially in terms of the speed that we, that ability to filter within seconds, right, and sort of get insights across so many different aspects of your platform and filter really deep into particular criteria. I don't think sort of we've come across. So there are tools that have in detailed token analysis. There are tools that have token tables, but I haven't really seen an end-to-end tool that does everything that we do in the same way that we do. And that's really our point of difference, is being that one-stop sort of token analysis and token research website.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Perfect. So I say we can maybe close the question, guys. You want to give another one, or you want to maybe take the floor and give us some key takeaways?
Yes. Hello, sir.
Okay, we take last one. Huh? Is that okay for you, Iba?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay, last one then, King. But I think you already asked a question. I already read one of your questions from chat. Well, hello?
Hey, King, did you have a question?
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, go on.
Yes. Can I ask now?
Yeah. Go, please.
Okay, thank you. Marketing is at the heart of every project, so it's important to let people know its potential. So, what is Agent of I.N.U strategy to attract new users and investors to your platform and retain them for the long term? Thank you.
Imi, do you mind taking that one?
Yes, can you hear me?
I didn't even catch that question. Can you ask it again, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Marketing is at the heart of every project, so it's important to let people know its potential. So, what is Agent of I.N.U strategy to attract new users and investors to your platform and retain them for the long term? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the question.
Yeah, we touched a little bit as well already with mouth and that slide already was a little bit about it. So maybe Imi, you want to complement on that? Would be sweet.
Yeah, sure. So that slide is what approach we have been taking from the start. And in terms of, I can talk about upcoming marketing. So I guess what we're trying to work for right now is for the market to stabilize, because when the market's tanking, there really isn't any point in throwing away your money at influencers or ads and stuff, because it's just essentially going to get burned. No one really likes to spend in this type of climate, and if they do, it's just for a quick turnaround, 1 or 2x, and then they're out. And it's quite common to see across the board with big projects. They don't spend money during this climate. Just hold off. You would be putting your project at jeopardy if you decide to spend majority of your funds in this type of climate. But the market is definitely stabilizing. Well, we think it is, and you can't go too long without any marketing. So next week we have some big plans. So stay tuned. Join us on Telegram, and you can expect some big things next week.
Cool.
We like to do a lot of AMAs and targeted posts through using other tools. But from time to time we use influencers because they do have some reach, and I think what's important is getting eyes on our project. And ultimately that's what we're trying to achieve in using different strategies. But yeah, stay tuned, and we have some big news next week, guys.
It's awesome. So yeah, perfect segue. Thanks, guys. go visit the Agent of I.N.U socials and check out their Telegram group, Hangout, because they're doing some giveaways there as well. So, guys, check your DMs because I sent you like the list of questions. So maybe if you guys want to start selecting your winners on our side, we can do the duck race, and then you can announce the winners after that. Does it sound good for you?
Yeah, that sounds fine for us. No problem at
Okay,
all.
perfect. Perfect. So while we wait for the decision, Silla Kalle, are you ready to run the race?
Yeah, of course, mate.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get my.
Born ready.
Yeah, I'm born ready. Yeah. Today I'm not having screaming kids in my arms. So.
Yeah. Let me just stop the. Sorry, I always forget. I stopped the recording here. Oops.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're giving
Horses.
away.
Okay.
Yeah, horses today. So we are giving away $50 to the top 3 spots here. So
Let's go.
good luck, everyone.
Yeah, I'm the first one there, but let's go. There are a lot of people. Look at that. There's a lot of people.
It's pretty cool.
Robert, first
Oh, Robert looks like Silla Kalle.
to cut the rope, and then Silla Kalle. No, it's not even near Silla Kalle. No. It's just that it was packed with people. So we have the first place Robert, second place Kingsley, and third place Sherminator. I hope you guys are still in the chat. I don't know if it's the core team contacting you or you guys should contact Silla
Yes,
Kalle.
we are. I'm trying to find them right now. So
Perfect.
hey, congrats everyone. So
Congrats. And now we have another set of 3 winners chosen, and thanks for that, for the giveaway here in our lounge from our friends from Agents of I.N.U. So, guys, have you thought about your 3 best questions?
So Amy, what was the plan?
It's hard.
The plan was the best questions. The best question.
Yeah.
We get $50 worth of Agent I.N.U tokens.
Yes.
I personally like.
Which question was it?
I like the first one. I think it was from King.
King, yes.
Yeah, that's my
And
vote.
he asked about community feedback in the design process. Good one, yes.
Yeah.
An ideal consumer. Good.
Yeah. So that
Yeah, King, if you can DM us, DM Imi, and I'll get your wallet details and transfer you the funds. Congrats, man.
Congrats to every winner.
No problem.
Right,
Thanks for the questions.
So, from our behalf, I really thank you for your time and the passion that you put in your project, and for sure, I'll be starting to use it right away.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed the man.
Me too. It was our pleasure.
Thanks,
So,
guys.
guys,
thank you so much.
Again, and thanks everyone who joined and spent some time with us. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here. And let's go. We're all gonna make it. Bye.
Thank you very much. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.